relationship calling. And to my left is one of our the only panelist. He's really the one and the only, Mr. Buddy Weaver from California. Give Buddy a big hand. You are the only Buddy Weaver from California that we know of. Well, good morning. I see some familiar faces from yesterday's snapshot resolution type session, and to be honest, relationship calling is sort of similar to that. We're gonna get a square up, and we're gonna play around, and Buddy's got some things he wants to talk about and show you. But the thing about relationship, if on the FASR, the FASR, formation, arrangement, sequence, and relationship. Good morning, Dana. And normally, everyone sort of gets in tuned. We get educated as callers about the formations, you know, ocean waves, columns, whatever. The arrangements, are we half sashayed? Is it boy, boy, girl, girl, whatever. The sequence, are we in sequence or out of sequence? Sequences could be very difficult to see. And then there's the relationship, and it's traditionally been, I know in the curriculum guidelines we have, which by the way are being updated for any potential caller coaches that might want to venture down that road at some point. It's done a major rewrite. It's not quite out yet. The committee has to review certain sections, but relationship used to be, oh, it's not important until you're ready to resolve. That's true. But it's more important than we think. And in the last 5 years or so, the coaches have started to put more emphasis on relationship calling. And what is relationship calling? It's simply the relationship the dancers have with each other within the square. For example, the head man, well, there's 4 relationship states, okay? Everyone's either going to have their partner, everyone's either going to have their corner, everyone's either going to have their opposite, everyone's going to either have their right-hand lady. Sure. And why is that important? Well, let me ask a question here. How many sight call? Okay, how many struggle with resolution? All right, be honest. It's, you know, again, as we said yesterday, there's 2 aspects to sight calling. There's the sight calling, and then there's the resolution. Most people don't have a problem with the sight calling because we learn as we get more experience to move dancers around. It's the resolution that's a little bit more difficult. And the big part of resolution is understanding the relationships of the dancers within the square. Especially when you start to look where you want to formulate your get out, whatever that get out may be. You start to look around, as we do on a natural basis. I know I do this. I'm sure Buddy does it. And I see some good experienced callers here in the hall. You start to call, and then you decide you want to resolve. But what are we looking for? We're not just looking for a get out, but we're looking what the relationship is at that point in the square, and how am I going to bring these dancers together? And also trying to understand where they are. We'll show this when we have a square up, but where are they in the square? You know, J. King wrote a book many years ago, The Windmill System. He had the windmill system. I think it was called Instant Hash. Instant Hash. And the concept of the windmill, you think of a windmill, it spins, there's usually 4 quadrants, was that the idea was to be able to move the dancers within the 4 quadrants so they're not always from a, say, static square, let's say head square through 4. Where are we after that? Corner box. Everyone's looking at their corner. So many callers might want to keep their dancers in the corner box, or they might move them across the street, you know, and they're going this way, they're going this way, or they may be going this way or this way. But Jay's system was to be able to move the dancers and let them dance in each quadrant with different people. Now, the more experienced callers, you just sort of do this. You know, you move the dancers around, and I know I can speak for myself that I don't personally think, okay, well now I got them right there. And I don't follow that. I follow it by visual, but in my mind, I just want to call. I want it to be smooth. Maybe I want to I have something in my mind I want to call, and I work it through. But the relationship is, that's when I start to look about resolution. And unfortunately, a lot of callers don't see the relationship that much. It's difficult. It's probably not as difficult as sequence, but relationship is really important, because if we understand where the dancers are within the square, or where they are from their partner or their corner or their right-hand lady, if we can grasp that and really get a good understanding of that, it's going to make you a stronger caller. And it's also going to open up the variety of choreography you might do. Have you ever danced to a caller where you feel like you're just stuck in one group, one side of the square? Raise your hand if you've done that. I know I've done it. I mean, I've danced to it. And it's like, we're not really going anywhere. We're like on a treadmill, or, let's just say we're in a corner box. Yeah, and we're in a corkscrew, as Buddy says, we're spinning them around, from a corner box. After you say head square through 4, okay, so we're in a corner box, that quadrant, and then you start calling swing through, boys run, wheel and deal, right, left through, veer to left, bend the line, right, left through, star through. Have they moved really out of that quadrant? No, they haven't. Now, are we dancing them? Is it smooth? Yes, that's all good. And remember, dancers normally they're not up there thinking while they're dancing. They're not up there saying, what's he doing? What's she doing? Oh yeah, she's got me in this corner box, and yeah, well, gee, I haven't moved out of the corner box in 6 calls. What's going on? I can assure you, most of them aren't doing that. Now, as callers, and remember when we were dancers, but then when you learn to become a caller and you go to dances, didn't your mind start to change a little bit? You start thinking, you start paying attention to what the caller is doing, as opposed to, because now you're on this side of the mic. And that's what I find fascinating. So the idea today is to show you how we can pair up the relationships or unpair the relationships, and then yet successfully resolve the square. But we're going to get a square up at some point. I'm going to turn it over to Buddy right now, because he's got some very interesting things he wants to either show, tell, or discuss. Mr. Buddy Weaver.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ken. So before we get too much into the dive into relationships, I like to kind of set up what I consider the 50-yard view. And that's take a big step backwards and understand what the expectation is of each and every single one of you, because I have an expectation for myself. I work in the trades, and so in the trades we have things that we call apprentice level, and journeyman level, and master level. Something that we don't often associate with being a square dance caller, and I think we should. I think an apprentice level caller is somebody who's been in the activity for maybe 1 to 3 years. They may or may not own their own sound equipment. They probably don't have a club they're calling for. They're doing a lot of guest tips wherever they can. And there is an expectation that we set for the apprentice caller. Likewise, if they move into becoming a journeyman caller, the journeyman caller probably owns his own equipment. He or she, by the way, I want you all to understand, it's not a gender bias. He or she will probably have a club that they're calling for on a regular basis. And likewise, when you move into somebody who's like a master level caller, somebody like Ken Ritucci is a good example. The expectations change. Now, if I were to take the same idea and take it a big step back away from what we're talking about specifically and say, let's apply apprentice, journeyman, master to being a square dance caller. And let's say, for example, if you come onto my job site and you're an apprentice, the first thing I'm going to teach you is how not to hurt yourself. If you're going to do electrical, I'm going to teach you how not to electrocute yourself. Then the second thing we're going to teach you is how not to hurt other people while hurting yourself. And in the same regard as a square dance caller, if you're an apprentice caller, we don't want you to hurt yourself insofar as injuring your career, your image, your reputation that you're trying to build by going out there and calling stuff that you don't quite understand, or maybe don't have even a clue as to what's being said. If you were an apprentice on my job, if he were an apprentice on my job, I would probably hand him the tools that I want him to use. in the same way that he were an apprentice caller coming to me, if he just graduated from class last year and Ken comes to me and says, I want to be a caller, I would probably talk to him, get an idea of what he's interested in doing, and hand him the music, and hand him the microphone, and hand him those tools so that he doesn't hurt himself, nor would he hurt the dancers by calling or doing something that is far beyond his level of understanding. And if we go into a journeyman would know the difference between a basic tool, let's say whether it's going to be a number 2 Phillips or a number 1 Phillips, and those things are expected of a journeyman. This conversation we're going to have today is for a journeyman. This conversation we're going to have today is what every journeyman, and I'm going to look at you and say, you are a journeyman caller, you should know that. And if you don't know it, don't be embarrassed. Because the worst thing we can do is when we say, I don't understand something, therefore it's no good, or therefore I walk away from it. I'm embarrassed. And don't be that way. Keep your mind open, and so that you can absorb the information that we're trying to put forward on this. Now, let's get into the whole idea of relationship calling. First of all, does everybody understand the term extemporaneous? If I were to use the term extemporaneous, show of hands of everybody who's familiar with it. Pretty much everybody is. Now, I want to tell you that my framework and how I look at extemporaneous, that's a term that a lot of people, like Ken said, site calling versus site resolution. In my day, we didn't really use, and I'm kind of an old school caller. I am very old school. This is 45 years this year, as a matter of fact. So, stop it. You're distracting me, as a matter of fact. I consider relationship calling for a journeyman level to be the anti-extemporaneous approach to square dance calling. There is nothing that should come out of your mouth that is not purposely said to move people to a specific place, to a specific pairing, and that you know in advance what's being said, versus saying, head swing through. Unswing through. Oh, wait. No, go ahead and swing through. A buddy of mine will say, it's Scooby-Doo calling. Swing through. Boy, run. I don't know. Are you asking me? That's not what a journeyman should be doing. That's not at all what a journeyman level should be doing. You might expect that from somebody who's perhaps an apprentice and is not properly training themselves or properly trained by an experienced journeyman or master like this. So when we talk about relationship, as we're going to get up here in just a second and start to show you, understand, if you have to do some writing. You're going to expect to sit down here with a pad of paper, and you're going to have to be able to chart out, say, okay, I understand relationship now. How do I move them there? A master caller, if I said, from a Sat Express, a head swing through and slide through, I can tell you right now, everybody's paired with their partner. I don't have to look at a square to tell you that. And if I said touch a quarter, walk and dodge, partner trade, I can tell you they're paired with their partner, they're in a facing line of four, it's a zero arrangement. So your formation is aligned, your arrangement is zero because you have a normal boy-girl arrangement. Your sequence is, everybody's in sequence manner, is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, right around the square. And the relationship, you're with your partner. And if you were to start spitting calls out to me, I could follow it, I could track it in my head, I could tell you exactly where they are, because I've been doing this for 45 years. Oftentimes calling 9 times a week. The more you call, the more it gets set in there. And we were just talking about this earlier, there is book learning, and here again, I'm going to take it back to the trades. We all had to take tests, we had to take examinations to get our tests done so we could have our certification. But that only took you so far. Part of that test came back to field work. And if you've never worked in the field, you are going to fail on that test. And it's the same thing for us. Our test happens every time we call to a group of dancers. You are tested every single time. So you're going to come back to what you understand from a book learning, and you're going to come back to field work. And you need field work. You need to be out there calling and applying what you know and what you've learned here. Purposes of relationship calling. Number one, it provides a variety of people to dance with, and that's probably one of the first things we're going to get into just here in a second. It identifies problems, which again is going to be, in fact, you know what, let's just jump right into it. Can I get 4 people up right now? I just want 4 people. No, actually, it doesn't make a difference. I just want 4 people. And I'm not going to be too gender specific because one of you, we got one honest pair, boy, girl, and the other one's going to be 2 guys together. It doesn't make a difference. I want you as 2 facing couples. And I'm going to want 1 person in a standby role. Okay, so you're going to be my standby, Doran? So let's say, for example, we have these 2 people. Let's say my call I'm going to be showing is going to be swing through. I'm going to say step forward to her, right-handed ocean wave. Boom, right there. They're advanced dancers. I can tell by the way they held their hands. You can spot them a mile away. Swing through would be that right-hand trade and a left-hand trade. And do another swing through, right-hand trade and left-hand trade. Richard, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I want you to pretend you don't know the call and pretend that you are just completely lost. Swing through, go. Right-hand trade, and then left-hand trade. Now you might want to slide nose to nose in the middle. Try to slide nose to nose in the middle. Okay? Now you see right off the bat, if I'm teaching swing through, if this is my beginner lesson, I say, oh, we've got a problem. I've got somebody here who's experiencing some difficulty. Come back to your original pairing, as you were, a couple facing a couple. And I say, you know what? This grouping has got a problem because they're a team. And as a team, they're not coming together. There's something missing in this team. So I might say, you know what? I'm going to have you step out. And Doran, you're going to step in. Now I've changed the makeup of my team. Now I can say step forward to a right-hand ocean wave and do a left swing through. Turn left and turn right. And now all of a sudden, Richard, who was struggling like heck a second ago, he didn't know his left from his right. Now all of a sudden it feels different. It dances different because I've introduced a new element right here. This is part of the concept of relationships, is identifying where you see a problem and identifying a fix for the problem. Everything we do in square dancing is nothing more than teamwork. And you sometimes need to change the members of your team or your squad, or however you want to word it, in order to make something successful. You identify the problem, you identify a solution, and that becomes changing members in the team. Would you come back to your original position? Please, a couple facing a couple. Now, let's say I want to bring 2 more couples up now. I want to bring 4 more people up. So I've got 1 here, so I actually need only 3 more people. So I started out here with 2 couples, and let's just say you have a small group in your area. Maybe you don't have 4 couples to dance with. Maybe you only have 2. Then try to find the 5th person so that you can tag them in or swap them out. How does the same idea apply to this work? Let's say you folks are head couples, because you are. Head couples, would you lead to the right and veer to the left and bend the line? And you're called swing through. Go, turn to the right. I'm not even going to cue it, you should know it. Very good. Single hinge, turn to face, pass through, partner trade, yada, yada, yada. Now let's say right now, Darla, right? You're going to give me nothing but problems. I can tell by the look on your face. You probably can do it, right? Doran, I know he can make things difficult for us. He's very good. He's an experienced caller. So you're going to give me problems. Pass the ocean, centers trade, centers run, ends fold, new centers trade, and blah, 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 bend the line, holy smoke, everybody pass through, we are completely lost. What the heck? Oh my goodness, you're all facing out. Say yes, buddy. Yes. Good. Happy boy, fold in front of a girl. There you go, touch a quarter. I'm really experiencing problems. I need to change my team. Center run around the end. Couples circulate. I have now changed my team. I've changed the relationship of the dancers within the square. This is just fundamentals of how we look at relationship. I've changed my team. Now bend the line. Now swing through. And now single hinge. And turn to face. And pass through. And the ends fold. And you're so close to it. Touch a quarter. I'm going to have to change my team again. Centers trade, swing through. Ends fold. Everybody pass through. Everybody, the others do a U-turn back. Thank you very much for doing it wrong. Pass through. Everybody face in. Everybody pass through. I have no idea who's with who. Girl fold. Everybody touch a quarter. Oh, there's that ocean wave again. Beautiful. Ends run around the center. This is not working for me at all. Couples circulate. I really appreciate the fact that you folks are purposefully breaking things down. I really like it. I want to change my pairing again. Relationship-wise, I can do this. Ferris wheel. I want to isolate these two couples because I want to see where my problem is. Maybe my problem is Darla. Right? And maybe Darla's not getting it because she's a visual learner. She needs to see that call done. How about center swing through, then a single hinge, and turn to face, then slide through, then pass through, and have the boy fold, and then star through, and they did pretty well. Wheel and deal in the middle. Good. Now zoom, get out of there. I want a new pairing to come in. Now center step to an ocean wave. Now Darla's had a chance to see it. She had a chance to watch it. Swing through in the wave. Single hinge. Walk and dodge. Everybody U-turn back. Oh, they did quite well. Did I say everybody U-turn back?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And the folks who are facing past the ocean. I can handle you troublemakers. In the wave, you'll recycle. Centers pass through, put centers in, cast off 3/4 round. Everybody pass through, ends fold, touch a quarter, centers trade, boys run, everybody partner trade, lines forward up to the middle, and you come right back.
This is the slow calling.
That's that's right. So what I also and what we did here is I isolated two couples. I would love to take credit on the idea. I got the idea from listening to a live dance recording of Frank Lane in 1964, and he's introducing the call swing through. And he introduced it as heads only doing it. And then he had him doing a double swing through, I thought. Then he moved out to the corner and Alaman left. Sides did nothing but watch. Then he had the sides do it. And he moved him out to the corner and he had him doing it, that swing through and double swing through. And then he moved into an Alaman left. I thought, brilliant. Why haven't we thought about that before? We are so geared to watching big squares. We forget that we can do a, for example, pass through and do a wheel and deal. And we can isolate to see two couples. And I can have the centers do a swing through. Go ahead. And they did it so well. Do another swing through. You did wonderful with that. Do a single hinge. If you're facing out, you turn back. Why don't you pass the ocean? Now do a double swing through. You did so well. Good. Now extend, and now I can quickly resolve. I can say centers trade, ends run around the center, and you can promenade back home if you want to. Ends whatever the other ones, but thank you very much for choosing the wrong ends. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Did you want to go with
He's gonna
now and getting into it?
Is there any more you want to do?
No, why don't you tag in, because you jump in.
Okay, so we're going to change up a little bit. I would like 4 ladies if I can and 4 men. Is there another lady who will dance? And I'd like you to put the pennies on. So when someone, we distribute them, Ken, thank you. All right.
Hey, well, they're doing that. How about a nice hand for the folks who jumped up there initially and volunteered? Thank you very much. And I really do appreciate you working so hard to mess up.
Just pick a color.
5 if you put it on upside down.
Oh.
They have numbers, so whatever number you get is where you square up.
No, it's a 2. I'm
Yeah.
keeping you brief about the 5. Yeah. It doesn't, because when you turn it upside down,
That would be a very interesting.
wouldn't it? I thought so too.
All right. You got your numbers and all that? Great. Now the pennies, of course, make it a lot easier, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Don't you wish we just, at every dance, all the dancers came and just wore these, and it's like, well, I don't ever have to worry about, who's my corner or writing it down or any of that. But the key thing about relationships, look good, Brad. The key thing about relationships is And it touches on, and sort of the good part of what Buddy sort of led into is what we call the isolated site. I think Jack Lazary gave it that term. And isolated site is really just a matter of keeping 4 people together. He used to call them groupies. And then moving those groupies around where they don't know that they're still together, because if you do it correctly and you're experienced enough, and this believe me, this takes time. This is not easy stuff. This is not like your first day at a caller's clinic and we're going to just, somebody's going to say, okay, start calling isolated site. They go, huh? But obviously what we want to do, remember the 4 quadrants. Let's have the heads step forward and face your corner. Okay, so right now, what is the relationship we have? Can you see relationships? So the number 4 couple is paired. Obviously, they have their partner, but the heads are not. All right? So watch this. Star through, pass through, bend the line, star through. So, anyone notice what we did? Still have your corner, and now the heads are paired and the sides are not. We did what we... invert and rotate, right, that's called an invert and rotate. Watch it again. Now what it does, it accomplishes 2 things. It can take you from the sides position, or side walls, or the head walls, or vice versa. And it's going to take those who are on the inside back to the outside. Currently, the sides are not paired, are they? Watch this. Star through, pass through, bend the line, star through. Now what has happened from here? Observations. I mean, I know, what do we see now? What's changed? 2 things have changed.
They're in a different quadrant.
Different quadrant, correct.
Different people are paired.
And different people are paired, right. But what are they also in at this point?
A 0 box.
A corner box. Yeah, the new terminology is now corner box. It's changed. Okay, so
Trying to remember.
what's that? Oh, jeez. It's gone from box 1-4 to 0 box to corner box.
You're the one that said across the street.
Well, yeah, well, that's a different thing. But anyway, so if everyone's in a corner box, what's the one thing you can call from there? Element left. Go ahead. Element left. All right, square them up. So, say you didn't want to say head square through 4, because that's going to get you into a corner box. How about head square through 2? Okay, so now we're in a different quadrant, are we? As far as working with our heads. If we were watching our head coupled, to me, they're in a different quadrant in some ways. They're looking at the right-hand lady. If you're following the number 1 man, it depends how you're calling, but the number 1 man is now looking at his right-hand lady, all right? So, star through, pass through, bend the line, star through. Who's he looking at? His right-hand lady. See, these are the kinds of things on a relationship style calling that we need to understand. All right? The invert rotate from a corner box is going to get you from a corner box to a corner box. But the invert rotate from a right-hand lady box is going to be a right-hand lady box. You say, well, what's the big deal? The big deal is if you don't understand that, then how are you going to be able to continue calling and eventually resolve? Sides back out. And just scrub. Here you go. You're home. I think you're home. No, right and left through. Now you're home. All right, thank you. Okay, so let's take a look a little bit about that isolated site where it involves relationships. Let's have the heads past the ocean. Extend. Okay, so the idea of the relationship is right now where are we? Are we in a right-handed box? Are we in a right-handed quadrant? Did the number 1 man come over to see his number 2? Yes? No? Thank you. Okay, so let's just look at our groupies. I want to start calling, and I want to keep these 4 together. All right, that's what I want to do. Because again, as I said yesterday, it's the mirror image. Whatever happens on one side of the square, provided there's no dancer's mistakes, happens on the other side of the square. Right, so you don't have to look at all 8 if you just want to look at 4, because what's happening here is happening there, in theory. All right, so let's just say we want to start dancing, swing through, Boys run, bend the line. Now so far we haven't really gone anywhere, have we? Pass through, bend the line. What did we do from here? How did we change it? Do I have my groupies together? Is the relationship of the sides and the number one man and the number three lady, are they still together? Yes, they are. They're together in a line of 4. Pass through, bend the line. Are they still together? They're still together. They're on this side facing each other. Okay? Let's see here. Touch quarter. Are my groupies still together? Right. Now the key thing about relationship calling and isolated calling is the fact that you're moving the dancers around if it's done successfully, but they don't know that you're keeping them together. Because now they're starting to look at different faces, even though in your mind they're still together. Let's have all the girls do a U-turn back. Do a right and left through. Veer to the left. Couple circulate. Are my groupies still together? No? Where's my groupies? Here's my groupies.
Box behind you.
Here's my groupies again. I'm looking at the number 2 couple, the number 3 lady, and the number 1 man. That's who I'm looking at. Bend the line. Are my groupies still together? Touch quarter. Are my groupies still together? Yes. Now the dancers, I'm going to straighten you out here, Rich. The dancers aren't going to really know. They're not going to know what you're doing. But while you're making it and keeping this relationship together, now like Buddy said, well now maybe I need to change my relationship. Maybe I need to start changing the dancers around. Let's see here. Everybody circulate. Are my groupies still together? Not really. You sort of got 3 and 1. It's sort of like an L shape. Circulate again. Are my groupies back together? Girls, do a U-turn back. Square through 3. Trade by. Element left. Promenade home. Questions on any of that at this point? The key thing is the relationship that I picked right now is from leading out to a right-handed lady, keeping my 4 groupies together, what we call isolated site. I think there's even a different term now, rubber band or something, where the idea was, and I've actually seen callers at schools put literally a big rubber band around 4 dancers. Seriously, and they, like try to keep them together. I don't think I need that. I've never had to go to that extreme. But it's called the rubber band, where you just keep them together. So let's look at let's have the sides square through 2. So if we're looking at the number 2 man at this point, where is he? Who's he looking at right now? His right-hand lady, correct. So now working from this side, do a right and left through. Veer to the left. Ladies trade. Couples circulate. All I'm doing is simply calling by keeping my 4 groupies together, because this is the relationship I'm working with right now. Bend the line. Are my 4 groupies, and I'm looking at this line, are they still together? Touch a quarter. Are they still together? All the boys run. Are they still together? Trade by. I think we have sort of broken them up. I want to work with somebody new. Like Buddy said, you gotta, if something's not working on one side, or so you see, like we do it all the time when we call. I'll do it if I notice that there's a certain couple that might be a little bit weak or struggling in the square. I might circulate them to with some stronger dancers, because I want them to have dancer success. Do a right and left through. Veer to the left. And relationship calling is so important, because at this point in time, after you've called what you want to call, that's when you should start looking to start pairing people up. And as I said yesterday, so this is sort of intertwined to what we did yesterday. Because even though many of you were in the group yesterday, what were we really talking about? Not just resolution, but resolution through relationships. The only way you're going to resolve is by getting the correct relationships. Okay, put you on the spot here. Let's see. Doran, quickly resolve from here.
Ferris wheel and the center's pass through.
Ferris wheel and the center's pass through. Element left. Buddy?
Bring it back to home. Side couple lead right, circle to a line. And then do a right and left through. Since this whole thing can be videotaped here, we're going to kind of break it down for you real quick. And we started out with the phaser, so I want to take another big step back to 50-yard view. Phaser, formation. Formation is a line, agreed? The A is arrangement. Arrangement, correct. So our arrangement is boy, girl. Boy on the left, girl on the right, so that's what we call a zero arrangement. So for example, everybody do a half sachet. Has the formation changed? Negative. It is still a line. Has the arrangement changed? Yes, you're just half. Do another half sachet. We bring you right back to the zero arrangement. Sequence. From where you're standing, you can see everybody's going to be numbered 1, and then 4, and 3 and 2. If you're coming around clockwise instead, 1, 2, 3, 4. Either way you look at it, there is a sequence to it. The relationship is everybody's dancing with their partner. Number 1 and number 1 are together, number 4 together from your view. Agreed? Everybody do a right and left through. That has not changed the formation. It is still a line. The arrangement is still exactly the same. It is still in a zero arrangement. The relationship is the same. You are dancing with a partner. The only thing that has changed is sequence. Now the dancers are numbered clockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, coming around the whole square. Now, as we talked about earlier, I apply a lot of relationship calling. I move people around on purpose. When I open my mouth and I start to call, I know exactly where I'm going to take these people, and there is no mistake. And having said that, I've worked with some guys who now, usually when I work with somebody else, I have to really carefully watch the square because they'll lean over to me and say, "Who's my corner?" Well, heck, I don't know, you're calling. What are you asking me for? But having said all that, I'm moving people with purpose. I move them purposefully to a line. I put them in on purpose with their partner, and I put them on purpose in sequence. That's what I wanted to do. Now, if my call is I'm working on, let's say I'm teaching. Now, I'm going to come bring it back to you folks who are journeymen. You're out there teaching, and you're experiencing some difficulty. Let's say your call is going to be flutter wheel. You're teaching a flutter wheel. Go ahead, girls. Right arm, arm, forearm, please. Boys go with them. Thank you very much. I can see problems already. Holy smoke, I need to change these people around. Star through. I've got them back with their partner. Am I correct? Say yes, buddy. Pass through, trade by. They're still with the partner, but I put them with a new grouping. Now the relationship has changed. Now I no longer have couple number 1 working over there with couple number 2. Instead, couple number 1 is working with 4. By gosh, let's see if they still struggle with flutter wheel. Let's do a slide through first, and then do a right and left through. Lady lead for the flutter wheel. Girl, right arm turn. Pick up the man. He stays ahead of the girl. She comes right back. It worked. Son of a gun. You know what? They were just dancing with a lousy couple before. Pass through, bend the line. Oh, hey, we're back with a lousy couple. Do a right and left through. Now flutter wheel. Girl, right arm across. Pick him up, bring him back. And all of a sudden it kicked. Why did it click that time? Because I gave them a chance to dance with somebody who didn't goof them up. And it built their self-confidence up. All of a sudden they say, I really do know a flutter wheel. Oh, no, there's a couple again. Oh, God bless them. I'm going to help them. Bless their hearts. Now, we don't know which couple it is, but that's what we've done with them is by moving them around. Now, let's say I'm still experiencing problems with this flutter wheel. They're just not getting it. Star through. Veer left and Ferris wheel is a beautiful combination of star through and veer left. Don't you just love it? Where's that foot? All right, now I'm going to isolate them. When I think of isolating, I'm going to isolate these two couples because maybe I'm still having problems with flutter wheel. Have the centers do a star through. Now, these are now, the relationship is with their opposite, and they're all heads. And I'm thinking, they're having trouble with flutter wheel. God bless them. Let's see if we can help them. Ready? Reverse flutter. Pick them up, bring them. Sweep a quarter. They did wonderful. Zoom, get out of there. I'm going to bring these folks in because maybe they're having trouble with flutter wheel. Ready? Reverse flutter. Pick him up, bring him back. Oh, they did so well. Sweep a quarter, please. Then do a star through. Arch in the middle, back up over a couple. The new centers will pass through. Everybody will touch a quarter. Everybody do a walk and dodge. Everybody do a partner trade. We're back in a line of 4. We have a formation of a line. We have the arrangement of 0. We have the relationship with partner, but our sequence is out. Am I correct? No, I'm sorry. We're in 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way clockwise. But let's say I want to move them with purpose. I want to put them with an opposite lady, because here's the deal. And again, I'll give it back to you in a second.
That's right.
Square dancing to me is about the experience. The dancers are here for the experience. They're not going to be devastated. They're not going to be fascinated by choreography. I'm going to go back to my trades analogy. If you hired a guy to come in to fix your plumbing or your electrical, and he walked in your door with a hammer in his hand, all he had is a hammer. How much confidence are you going to have in this guy? Because when you're carrying a hammer, and choreography is a hammer, everything's a nail. The only thing that's going to change is how hard you swing that hammer. But everything is going to be smacking with the hammer. So now we need to add to our toolbox things like music, things like showmanship, and those are little aspects that we carry in a bigger toolbox. Part of my, so let's say now I'm going to consider this part of my tools, my arsenal of tools, is my understanding of relationships. And I want to move them with purpose, because every extemporaneous caller I've heard does 2 things. Number 1, they call the same calls over and over and over and over and over and over again. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard swing through, boy, run, bend the line. They're fishing. Did I get my corner? No. Throw the cast a line, and then I get my corner. No, and it's repetitive, and it's boring. Move me around a little bit, for gosh sake. So I want them with an opposite lady. I want them with the opposite lady, because they're not going to usually be with an opposite lady, and that's why it's anti-extemporaneous. How am I going to put it with an opposite lady? Here we go. 4 ladies chain. And son of a gun, they're with an opposite lady. And son of a gun, you know that 4 ladies chain is on the SSD program?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed put told me yesterday, don't do it, they all get mixed up.
I'm going to show you how they won't get mixed up. Everybody do a pass-through and a partner trade. Do a reverse flutter. I'm going to show you how to get success out of it. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Do a right and a left through, and the 2 ladies chain straight across. And when you're done with that, let's have all 4 ladies chain. Come back to your original partner and turn it. And what I did was I gave them a little bit of a confidence boost. I put them with the opposite dancer. I had them do a 2 ladies chain that got them back in. I said 4 ladies chain, and I knew exactly where that 4 ladies chain was going to end them. It wasn't a 4 ladies chain and you're ending with a, hang on, let me look at your pinafores. Oh yeah, you're with your partner. I knew exactly where they were going to go. Now there's other ways to move them to the opposite lady. Star through, pass through, trade by, keep smiling. Star through. Do we have lines?
Yes.
Formation is good? Are we good? Everybody past the ocean. Let's have the ends circulate. Everybody do a swing through. The ends circulate once more. I can just keep playing around all the time, moving them around. Boy run around a girl. Bend the line, yada, yada, yada. Are we pretty close to having that opposite lady set up? I think we pretty much are, aren't we? We can have a reverse flutter wheel. Yada, yada, yada. And look, there they are with the opposite lady. Ken?
Yeah, I'll take a little different tack, so we show you something a little bit different. Okay, so again, as we spoke about extemporaneous calling in general, whatever method you're using, provided, if it's not reading or it's not memory, because if it is, then these wouldn't, if you're doing memorized calling and memorized modules, then this isn't going to help. Because you should know then where they are, since you've worked the sequence out and probably called it several times. But we're talking more about isolated site or site calling and relationships as far as where people are in the square. So right now, let's look at the square here. Does anyone just look at half the square? Again, whatever happens on one half is happening on the other. So if we look at these 4 right here, what is the relationship of the number 1 man with his partner? With his partner, number 1 man with his partner. Where is his partner? Number 1 man, okay, I'm sorry, original partner. Where's their original partners? All right, they're all on a diagonal, all right? So the key again is relationships are so critical when it comes time to finally resolving, because what are we doing? We're resolving the square, we're trying to make it successful. Successful Alaman lefts, successful resolution is a win for the dancers. Of course, it's a win for the callers as well, but the dancers need to win. If they don't win, they're not winning. If the callers can't bring the dancers back to a proper Alaman left, then they're not quite doing their job. Let's do this. I said this yesterday. If I have all 4 people, now if I decided I want to resolve at this point, and I look out and I see what the situation is, I say, okay, right away I see that it doesn't matter what I do right now, on each side of the square, there's nobody I can pair, is there? Past the ocean, swing through, girls circulate, boys trade. Boys run, ladies trade. Now have I paired 2 people? But see, by doing the swing through, girls circulate, boys trade, I brought 2 people across the set. So now 2 are going to be paired. But to me, it doesn't matter whether it's the heads or the sides. I just want to start bringing people together. I want to tighten that relationship up. So now I've got my head couples with their partner. That's the relationship they have. And the sides have their opposite. Okay, from here, do a Ferris wheel. And in the middle, do a right and left through. And yesterday, Ed showed us, and this is a Dixie Grand get out. Give her a Dixie Grand, right hand, left hand, right hand, Alaman left, and you're home. And what was that setup for that Dixie Grand? Remember, he had the matched pair on the inside, the mismatched on the outside, but the corner, the number 1 and number 3's corner were behind them. And that's the perfect way to get out of that. Let's see, I'm going to mix them up. Heads past the ocean. Extend. Swing through and spin the top. Hinge. Circulate. Boys run. All right, didn't really mix them up that much, but I did move them around, didn't I? Again, remember what I said, dancers aren't dancing in their mind about, oh, he's got me in the right-hand corner box. Oh, I'm looking at my corner. Oh, there's my right hand. Oh, I got my opposite now. Now, I think sometimes in singing calls, people understand. You ever see dancers that might have trouble with the sequence of a singing call, and they don't swing their particular corner, and they go through it twice. Sometimes you'll see, you should have your opposite. Get your opposite. Somebody in the square usually says, we should have our opposite, lady, and people try to fudge around and they fix it. But from here, pass to the center and pass through. Slide through. If I'm looking at my number 1 man, I got him in the left-hand quadrant right now. I'm just looking at the number 1 man because that's who I just happen to be following, okay? So what do we have here again? We sort of got a mix mash, don't we, Rich? In your quadrant, is there anybody here who could be paired up? It's just these 4. Do you see 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 yellows? All right, so everybody's as far away as they can possibly be, all right? Let's do this. Do a slide through. Another slide through. I didn't want to call it. You know what they say? When in trouble, do it double. You know, if you say something and you go, in your mind, go, oops, I didn't want to call that, call it again. But you
motivate you double.
yeah, well, I've called that. All right, so what do we got here? So let's just say I want to start mixing my relationship up in the terms of trying to bring the resolution together. Again, to me, relationships are critical for resolution, and when it comes to that time, I want to start bringing somebody together, all right? Somebody. In the beginning, when we're new callers, you know, we do it at the schools, you follow the number 1 man, number 1 or number 4, whatever. It could be anybody in the square you feel comfortable with. So I want to start bringing people together. Pass through and bend the line. Oh, God. That didn't work, did it? Do a right and left through.
You told me a result for you.
Oh, I got it. No, I got it. I'm sorry. I got it now. Pass through, bend the line, and do a right and left through. No, that didn't work, did it? Do another right and left through. All right, so my point is, they're never going to get there. All right, you can do this till the cows come home. It's not going to work. Somehow you have to start bringing some people across the set, and you have to start forming new relationships. Slide through, swing through, girls circulate, boys trade. Boys run, girls trade. Voila, I've matched 2 people on each side. We now have new relationships. The relationship is I want my head couples at this point have their partners, the sides don't. Now, it could have been that the sides had their partner and the heads were out. But the key thing to remember is you're now halfway home. Instead of no one having their partner, which is one relationship, is they have 2 people having their partner. All right, so from here, do a Ferris wheel. And what does this look like? I think I just called it. Dixie Grand. Go ahead, right, left, right, element left, and promenade home. Now I know the pennies make it look easy, don't they? It's really easy to see this. And but I wanted you, because we were talking about relationships today, it's easier to have the pennies on. I'm not so much concerned about resolution, because that was yesterday, but resolution sort of comes after the relationship pairings. And the problem we have with newer callers, and even experienced callers, I've seen them for, callers that still call 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, who really haven't mastered resolution that much, at least through sight calling, is because as soon as they start calling, let's say, let's have the side square through 4. Now look at me, look at my body now, this is what I'm doing. Swing through. Boys trade. Boys run. Girls trade. It's like, what am I doing? Right away off the bat, instead of calling and being creative and stuff, I'm already in my resolution mode. I'm looking for pair-ups. I'm looking for relationships that I can pair up to resolve. They've only done about 4 calls. But that's the trap we get into. You go to a caller school, of course, I know because I run them. And then you're working with a group and then you say, okay, resolve. And it's like all of a sudden Richard goes from a confident caller, he's calling along, he's doing a great job, he's mixing everyone up, he's going to different quadrants, everybody's together, he might even be doing a little isolated even if you don't know it. And then all of a sudden the instructor says, resolve. Well, even if you're not in a caller school, at some point in your mind when you're on stage calling to your dancers, it's going to click off, resolve. I mean, you can't go on. If you go too long, you're going to lose the dancers. So all of a sudden, Richard becomes the slow train. The train was going fast, and now it's the slow train. Oh my God, resolve, bend the line, right, left through. And what goes out the window? Timing.
Everything.
Everything basically goes out the window.
Smoothness.
Smoothness, okay. Let's do a pass-through wheel and deal. Center's pass through, element left. Square them up, buddy.
The idea for me too on relationships is when I move people around, in my mind, I do have a resolution in mind. So for example, I've written some great resolutions. Some of them I stole from Les Gocher. So for example, it's an opposite lady line. I'm going to show it to you. Let's have the 4 ladies chain straight across. All right, so everybody's with the opposite lady. We can have the heads lead to the right, circle to a line, blah, 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 blah. Now, just for the sake of getting them quickly, I put them into an opposite lady line. Formation, line, arrangement, 0. Sequence is normal, boy, girl, couples 1, 2, 3, 4. And the relationship, everybody's dancing with their opposite lady. I can play with them a little bit if I wanted to. I can have them do a whole sequence of isolated sight. I can have them move on and do a little bit more isolated sight, but I want to bring it back here because I have a cute resolve from here. In my mind, I think it's pretty cool. And so I'm going to write or structure everything then around 2 things. Number 1, the resolution, how I'm going to bring them out. And then number 2, how do I get them there? In a way, I've written my math backwards. I said the answer is, how do I get there? So my answer is this: slide through, and then square through 3 hands, And give a left to the next and pull her by. Give a right to your partner and pull her by. And element left your corner. And everybody says, wow. Oh, and you're home. Ooh, wow. And all of a sudden, my paycheck just got a little bit bigger. Ooh. And all it was this cute little get-up that I wrote around that where I stole from Les Gocher. Les Gocher used to call it left square through 4, left to the next pull her by, right to your partner, pull her by, element left, and blah, blah, blah. So relationship now can be resolved, it can be done in a different way, and that's to rewrite a resolution. Likewise, let's say I have a cute resolution for a right-hand lady line. So math-wise, I'm writing my formula backwards. My resolution is going to be the end, the sum. How do I get there? So the next thing I want to do is get them there. Head, start through, pass through. And they're pretty much there set up with the right-hand lady, aren't they? They're in that right hand. Their relationship now is they're dancing with the right-hand dancer. I say right-hand lady, but it's also the right-hand man. It is that setup for them. So now my get-up, I know it's going to be pretty straightforward. Everybody do a slide through, and everybody do a right and left through, and I'm kind of moving them around because here's what I want. I want that formation of a line, and I want my arrangement to be 0, and I want my sequence. I want them in sequence, and I want my relationship to be a right-hand lady. And here's my clever get-up. Now, thank you, Les Gocher. Square through 4. 4 hands around. Be sure it's 4. Give her right to your partner. Pull her by an element left with your roll left hand. You get back home and say, whoa, man. And that little square through 4, right to the next and pull her right to your partner, pull her by. That was my resolution. And I already had it. All I'm doing is I'm doing my math backwards. Can I see a little bit longer?
We got time.
Because we're kind of coming down to it. But one thing I want to give you the Buddy Weaver $1 Million lesson. So you drop your wallet down there. And be careful because Ken's debit card has been canceled. So he's got that very hungry look. And he might not be eating for the next 2 days. The Buddy Weaver $1 Million lesson is this. Applying relationship dancing to singing calls. We don't. A lot of times the singing calls are corner, 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 corner. But what if I wanted to move them to a right-hand lady instead? And people go, ooh, well that was different. Isn't that what you want to hear as a caller? You want people to come and say, ooh, that was pretty cool. Now the old-fashioned way is this. Element left your corner and you'd walk by your partner and you'd swing. But we don't have to do that. But you know how that all works. You could walk by one, swing the next. Yeah, big yawn, yawn. But what if I really wanted to do it in something that felt like modern calling? So I could use the old traditional figure, heads promenade halfway around the ring, down the middle and square through 4 hand around. Now if we're doing a standard old singing call, what would be the next call that we hear 100 times? Right and left through, veer to the left, and then you Ferris wheel. Now we would normally say square through 3 and then you'd swing your corner. But what if I really wanted to be a little fancier? I'd like to be fancy this time. Centers pass through. Now, right away, our relationship, we are looking at our right-hand lady. Say yes, buddy.
Yes, buddy.
Are we in sequence? No. So how could I put them in sequence? I could say right and left through, couldn't I? I'm not going to. Because if I said right and left through and I'm running out of music, because it's timing down, right? And I'd say swing. Coming out of right and left through to a swing is yuck. How about this? Start through, slide through. I'll give her a swing. Now promenade. Now there's going to be some dancer out there saying, oh, that poor guy screwed up. He didn't give me my corner. That poor sap, he doesn't know it. Until they get back home and say, wait a minute. How come it worked out? And I could do it again. I could take another popular figure. I could say head square through 4 hands around. Let's see, how are we doing on time, Ken?
We got about 12 minutes.
Okay, I'll be done in here in about 2. Okay. Swing through, boy run around the girl. I'm going to show you how easy it is to move them into a right-hand lady swing. Do a Ferris wheel. How many times do we use this as a singing call? We say centers pass through, touch a quarter. Don't do it. We would say centers pass through, touch a quarter, scoot back and swing it, right? How about that zoom? Center square through 3. Come on out and give her a swing. and promenader. Now stop right there, freeze. Because I want to show you what the other benefit of having a right-hand lady swing using this type of dancing on the grid does. The first time you would do a singing call, normally we'd say centers pass through, touch a quarter, and scoot back, and blah, blah, blah. Number one man, Ken, he would be here, and he'd be doing his swing, and he'd be saying, oh, I don't want to promenade again. I'm going to stop short and let everybody rear end me.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what he can't do? I put him over there for that swing. He can't stop short. He would have to walk out of square, backtrack around, and look foolish. So I've forced him to promenade for the dancer who's just that little nudnik who doesn't want to do that promenade. Also, for the dancers who struggle with keeping in time with the music, because we all have dancers who are struggling, am I right? I've given his promenade now a much shorter promenade. I'm giving him 16 beats of music to promenade 12 beats. Promenade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, done. But the music's still going for 4 more beats, as I'm still singing my chorus, because of course it's always 16 beats. So what has that done? I've given him the extra time. And if they weren't there at the right time for the swing, that extra 4 beats of music brings them back onto the musical phrase so that they're able to finish in time. So now I'm able to start my next figure, whatever that may be, and not have to wait for them to say, well, keep promenading till you get back. Okay, when you get back, and when you get back, and when you get back, and now we're ready to go. So it's a cute, it's not only, erase cute, erase it off the tape, will you? It's smart. A right-hand lady progression is smart if you do it on the grid like this. There's lots of ways to do it. Heads past the ocean, extend. I've got my right-hand lady arrangement. I've got my right-hand lady arrangement already going for me. All I have to really do, because take a look at it. That's his right-hand lady. That's his right-hand lady. If I had them swing right now, they're out of sequence. All I've got to do is put them in sequence. Double swing through. Did he say double? Double. Yep, double. That'd be one. That's great. Single hinge. I can scoot back. Well, you can do that. And I can say swing. And I can say promenade. And he can't stand on his brakes and get rear-ended. Nobody gets hurt. And if he's limping around back home, and all I have to do is the same figure one more time. And we could do the old one that we learned off the old singing calls, head square through 4. And we're going to do it just for the record. It's going to be memorialized. Spin chain through. Girls circulate 2 places around the outside track. When you meet that girl with a turn through, a little bit further, element left your corner. This one, there you go. Walk by 1, swing your partner, and stop right there. Because stop right there, don't move. How many times have we heard that? That's the only right-hand lady progression we've all learned.
Yes.
And now look where he's swung. He's now got a promenade, not 16 beats, he's got a promenade 17 to 18 beats and 16 beats of music. That figure is an awful figure. If you're using that in your singing calls, spin chain, worse if you add the do-si-do. That was really awful. Do-si-do, spin chain through, and circulate twice, turn through, allemande left, walk by 1 and swing. You force these people now to take 17 beats of promenade and 16 beats of music, and I challenge you to find anybody who can do that. Because they won't be, go ahead and promenade 16 beats. Go, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they're still not there. They needed an extra beat to 2 beats to get back home. And if they were maybe 15, 20 years older, they might have needed an extra 4 beats to get back home. So relationship calling now is not just for patter work, it's singing calls.
Oh, yeah.
And you're welcome. Yeah.
Richard, you had a question, didn't you? Were you going to say something?
When I get confused sometimes when you have men together and ladies together. I can double pass through, put centers in, cast off 3/4, and what I do is I just try to get every guy with a gal and then figure out who's with their partner.
Okay.
Is that the right way to do it, or
Well-
is there more to it?
Well, it depends what you're trying to accomplish. Let's have the head starter, double pass through, put centers in, cast off 3/4. Okay, so this is what Richard said, boy, boy, girl, girl. and then he tries to normalize it right away. Which again, to me, if I'm calling and I'm moving the dancers and I still have this, for some reason, whatever I called got them into a boy, girl, whether it's lines, waves, whatever. But then the little clock goes off in my head saying, okay, you really should bring them home. You don't want your sequences to be, even whether you're reading them or whatever, memory, especially sighting, you don't want your sequences too long, because after a while, you're going to lose the dancers. You know, you're going to drone on and on and on, or you might even lose yourself and just saying, I'm just calling, I don't know where the hell I am anymore. So from here, you want to normalize. Well, let's do a slide through. Okay, so you did normalize, Richard, but you also did some relationship changing, and you've matched some people up right in the middle, haven't you? You see that you've got the sides matched and the heads are mismatched. All right, so let's see here. Do a right and left through. All right, so now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to resolve by getting out of what I've created. And what I created was a boy, girl line. I want to change my relationship by getting the sides out of there and bringing the heads in. Do a zoom, center slide through, back out, you're home. Do you have another question on that?
I don't always do what you said. No.
Correct.
No. When I get the men together and so forth and the ladies together, I do some routines with them as couples.
Sure.
And then at some point, I have to figure out how to get them. Sometimes I just put them in columns and column circulate, whatever it takes to get people finally into a normal relationship.
A normal relationship. Okay, side start through. Everybody do a double pass through, put centers in, cast off 3/4. Okay, so this is where we are again, but I've started with the sides instead of the heads. So Richard says, and we all do this, so we're all Richards right now, we're all Kens, we're all buddies, we're all together here. He says he may do something, depending on the strength of your dancers too. I mean, only you know your dancers better than anyone else, okay? Past the ocean, all right? Some people might have had trouble with that. Some dancers might say, it's a guy going in with a lady or whatever, and it's like, I'm not used to that, and she's not on my right, and everything feels out of whack for some of the couples, right? Dancers tend to feel uncomfortable sometimes where you put them. So my rule of thumb is if you're not that strong in resolution and all, and moving the dancers, don't keep them together like that too long, because either they're going to end up making a mistake or sometimes, have you ever seen dancers, I'm sure we have, try to correct a half sashayed square? And they go, oh no, I don't belong over here, I got to be over here. And they just change. You know, they change in the middle of what you're trying to do. And it's like, no, it's okay, I know where you are. Okay, so Richard, from here, it is boy, girl. Centers trade. So now it's boy, girl. Scoot back. Look how I'm trying to bring everybody back to normalcy here. Boys, run. Got it. Now, I didn't get everybody together because everybody wasn't together in the first place, but I just used simple calls to break it up.
I know how to do that. The question is, do I worry during this interval of what the sequence is, where people...
No, I wouldn't worry about it right now. Remember, I don't encourage callers to look towards resolution right away or sequence or relationship until they're ready to resolve. At this point in time, the first thing is you normalize the square, right? Then you have to start looking at where you are. You can't, if you're still boy, girl, and you're going to try to resolve that way, it's not going to work. So now you've got them back normal. Now you start looking where they are. So right now we have the heads are matched, the sides are mismatched. Let's see here. Oh, Ed Foot would love this. Pass through wheel and deal. What's the Ed Foot get out? Dixie Grand. Right. Left. Right. He'll be so proud of me. Elevate left when he hears this tape, and he does listen to all the tapes. So, he does. Any last thoughts, buddy? Questions? Yeah, is there any questions before we wrap it up? Because it's time for the break and then the next session. How many found this helpful? With the pennies on, of course, it's much easier. We understand that. But I wanted you to have a visual. It's not just the visual, but it's what's going on in your mind. How are we calling? Like Buddy said, when you get behind the microphone, when you get in your car and you're going to leave your driveway, you sort of know which way you're going, right? You're going to turn right, you're going to go left, you know where you're going. It's no different than calling. When you start calling, you sort of have a game plan. You need to know where you just can't be calling willy-nilly and just hope. If I had $1 for every caller who said to me, I said, well, how do you resolve? He goes, oh, I don't know, I just call until they fall into my lap and I say, I'm serious. I've heard this for 44 years, buddy.
I would also apply that whole trade analogy. If your plumber or electrician leaves your house and he's done a good job, you're happy to pay him, you probably want to pay him a little bit more. But if you've paid him and he walks out and you're not satisfied with the job, you're not going to refer him to your friends. You're not going to have very kind things to say about him online. And if you are that kind of caller, then that's going to be you. People will not have kind things to say about you, will not offer your name as a referral. So be the guy or girl who goes in there, knows their job, does a good job, walks out of there with every bit of confidence. You can take your hand and do this when you leave. Or I often say, thank you, Lord, forgive me, you gave me a great dance. And that's your target, kids. That's your target. Be that professional.
Yeah, the other thing too is if you, I still encourage all of us to use checkers, not the computer checkers, checkers, and sit down. And if you find yourself in a rut always doing corner box choreography or whatever, then mix it up. Physically sit down and write right-hand ladies or opposites or whatever. Force yourself to get into another quadrant. It's not that hard, okay? From the static square, you can get there quickly. But that's what you should be practicing on. Push yourself. And if your sight resolution, if you're doing it on a consistent basis, then stretch yourself and get into a right-hand corner box and start doing some stuff. Don't do the same old, because you know what? Your dancers will pick up on that. How many times have we heard say, oh, we know what they're going to call? I once was in Pennsylvania, I was doing a dance, and some dancers were having trouble with flutter wheels. So in between the tip, I went up to them and says, let me show you flutter wheel, because they just didn't get it. They said, well, we weren't taught that, but we were taught, we thought swing through boys run was one call. And that's serious. That's what the lady said to me. I go, well, it's not one call. But she says, well, that's the way our caller calls, swing through boys run. And we just do it because that's what always happens. Well, thank you. How about a nice hand for the dancers? You can return the pennies up front. Nice hand for Mr. Buddy Reaver. Thanks, guys. You got to work with this. And also, if you can get some material on crayons, this was the whole idea with Jerry's story in crayons, was to move you in different quadrants. I have material on crayons. If anybody wants it, please see me privately. Okay, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Nice night for Ken Ritucci.
Thank you.
What do you got there? Thank you, Ken.